Welcome to episode 83 of the Davidson Hang Reflections and Lessons from a Life Worth Living podcast. It's a podcast about me sharing sort of like an open diary journal, what's going on in my life, and hoping that you all could get something out of what I share. So, yesterday was day one of Tony Robbins' Date with Destiny, which is a self-development program. I'm sure many of you have heard of Tony Robbins. He's pretty well known. I would say the probably the most popular person in the self-development, personal development, business development space. And so yeah, yesterday we had an exercise called the power of effective blaming. We all blame someone in our lives for the things that have happened to us. But when you blame someone else, you make them responsible for what's going on in your life. If things had gone the way you wanted them to, would your life have really been better? Would you be the person you are today? Life is a balance. When you're in pain, it's because you're overvaluing the impact of an event had on the negative side of your life and undervaluing the impact on the positive side. The truth is that life doesn't happen to us. It happens for us. So it's only fair to blame effectively. If you're going to blame someone, you need to blame them for the bad, the good that came as a result of the situation. Blame consciously instead of unconsciously. So, the prompt yesterday was one of the prompts yesterday was what's an event in your life that has you thought messed up your life? What's the impact of the life that that event has on your life up until today? So I wrote down my father's absence for the last 18 years has helped me be more independent, ambitious, being of service, getting into coaching, life coaching, career coaching, volunteer work, finding a stable partner, and ultimately helping me get married to my beautiful wife, Sammy. My career path being in sales, having a chip on my shoulder, just trying really hard to be a person where he can be proud of me, who can be successful no matter despite having a lack of a male role model in my life, or a father more specifically. Having a closer relationship with my mom, my sisters, experience, adventure, traveling the world, traveling across to Hawaii, for instance, this um, not too long ago, being able to have fun, creating the books, the men's group, the podcast, going to amazing conferences like this one, the Tony Robbins conference and Landmark, joining a fraternity where I'm with other males. And the trials or tribulations made me have a really blessed sales career. We have a life of traveling to conferences, meeting interesting people, and choosing a specific life, a family of stability with the in-laws, for instance. So yeah, just wanted to share with you all this today. It's been quite amazing to reflect on day one, and it's crazy to think this is just day one. So stay tuned for other insights. Also wanted to share with you some quotes that I thought, some other realizations that I thought was extremely beneficial. So I wrote down wanting an apple tree to be a pear tree. That's what we do with others. Instead, it would be beneficial for us to understand their true nature and appreciate and respect them. What is unique and special about them brings a flavor to your life. And we all tend to hold on to something, but we can all agree that everyone changes, everything changes. Change is essentially a part of life, and it's impossible to avoid change. And it's honestly what makes life so interesting and rich, the differences. So I reflected on the concept of us versus them. There's definitely times where I've thought about the differences of someone else, whether it's race or upbringing, whatever the case may be. We all have strengths and weaknesses, and instead of wanting to be like me, the goal is to be curious instead of judgmental. If I step into their shoes, what would I see? There's also a concept that Tony talks a lot about called being 100% responsible. And that's for our experience, your, like Davidson's experience of life, no matter how someone else behaves, what they say. So I was, I felt a sense of peace and forgiveness after we did this exercise. It's a Hawaiian healing prayer called where you say, "I'm sorry, I love you. Please forgive me. Thank you." So that was a really good realization. And there's another portion that was super interesting where it talks about, and yes, I'm summarizing over 13 hours, 14 hours worth of content into a short summary. So obviously, I won't be able to get the full experience. It's much different. And I can just share with you my takeaways in a nutshell so that it's a bit more concise and easier to consume and for me to just to process everything. But the three U's that is how you lose your wife or your female partner is if they feel unseen. People cheat or women cheat because they feel unseen and they want attention all the effing time. Not being understood, and how difficult it is for them from a place of survival, because women do fear for their lives. They do feel fear. And number three is when they feel unsafe, or when men break their word. Three things that women do to lose their husband is three C's. So number one, it's criticism. Two, close, being closed off or withdrawing, withholding information or withholding communication. And number three, controlling, if they feel controlled. So yeah, this is pretty deep as well. I'll let you all reflect on that yourselves. I feel like that's pretty self-explanatory. And the last thing I learned is, or one of the things I learned is to be able to generate energy whenever we want to. It's a choice to feel tired or to be self-generating. Instead of being a victim to our feelings, we have a choice to bring ourselves to a peak state by training ourselves how to get there. It could be a ritual or positive trigger and just fulfill on our promises that we have to ourselves. Well, I hope you enjoyed these takeaways. Reach out to me if you got anything from this share, and cheers. Love you guys.